Hey friends, Martin the Mortgage Guy here. My second video on escrow accounts. Taxes. I tell my clients that the most confusing thing about buying a home is the property taxes. There are a number of different factors involved in property taxes, how much the property taxes will be, and in the closing costs, the different payments toward property taxes and credits toward property taxes. So, first of all, your property taxes in the state of Alabama, in Jefferson and Shelby County, which is the major metro Birmingham area, and really across the entire state of Alabama and most places in the U.S., you have what's called a homestead exemption. And your homestead exemption is for folks that live in the house, for a homeowner who lives in a property and owns that property as their primary residence in that state and resides in that property as their primary residence. So you can only have one primary residence in a state, in the state of Alabama. And you get a discounted rate on your property taxes on that property. If you own other properties as maybe an investment property or as a vacation home, you're taxed at a different rate. Typically, if it's an investment property, you're taxed at the full tax rate for that county. So sometimes, like in Jefferson County where I am and in Shelby County, typically the new owner will pay the same rate that the previous owner was paying. So if you're buying a property that was being rented out, that was an investment property, and it was a rental prior to your purchase, then you're going to pay a higher rate on property taxes for the first year that you live in the house until the county notifies your mortgage company that you have filed a homestead exemption. I've one time heard of the county actually calling the mortgage company and letting the mortgage company know that the customer, the homeowner, filed their homestead exemption. But typically you just have to wait. You just have to wait for the county to update that information with the lender. And so that's going to happen typically around the turn of the year. Where I live in Jefferson and Shelby County, taxes are charged. The tax year runs from October 1st to September 30th. And so the tax rate goes into effect on October 1st. That's when taxes are due, and they are late after December 31st. And most mortgage companies pay that payment to the counties in the month of December, and after December 31st into the new year, the taxes are late if they haven't been paid yet. This is going to be a little bit longer video, probably about 5 minutes, I think. So we build an escrow account for your property taxes, just like we do for insurance. So we're going to put a 2-month cushion, 2 or 3 month cushion into the escrow account. So we're going to collect at closing a couple of months in property taxes, and then we're going to collect, well, take that back. With insurance, we collect a couple of months. With taxes, we collect the amount depending on what month of the year we are closing on the property. So I'm making this video in August. Taxes are due in October. We're going to pay them in December. So if somebody closes on a house in August and there's no mortgage payment in September, and their first mortgage payment is paid on October 1st, then we really need to collect the entire year of taxes at the closing so that in December we can make that payment to the county. Now, when we do the final paperwork in the closing, there's going to be some credit from the seller to cover their portion of the property taxes, because if we're closing in August, for example, then the seller has lived there and owned that house since the prior October. So for 10 months of the tax year. So if the taxes are $2,000 a year, about $167 a month, the seller is going to give a credit to the buyer of about $1,700, $1,670 towards their portion of the property taxes. And all of that gets worked out in the closing. And so as a lender, that's something that I like to go over the numbers with my clients at the beginning of the process, sometime in the middle of the process, and of course at the end of the process. And always those numbers, your final closing cost, your final cash to close, it should be getting more and more in your favor as my estimates become more and more detailed and concrete as we get closer to the closing. So maybe that's all I can say for about taxes right now. That's a long enough video. Enjoy it. I'm still accepting new clients all the time. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, whatever your situation is, especially if you are a young couple with 2 incomes. I would love to help you buy your first home or buy your next home. Feel free to reach out. Talk with you soon.